In Unit 15, Part 3, we're going to look at solving proportions using cross products. So if you remember in Part 2, we looked at the first two ways to solve proportions. One was equivalent ratios, one was using algebra. So now we're going to do it with cross products. So first we need a definition of cross products. A cross product is the product of the numerator of one ratio and the denominator of the other ratio. So numerator of one, denominator of the other. So let's look at how to tell whether ratios form a proportion. So we're trying to decide if these are going to be equal to each other. So we're going to do that by finding cross products. So that means I'm going to do 6 times 24. That's the numerator of the first one times the denominator of the second one. And I'm going to put an equal sign with a question mark, because I'm trying to decide if that's equal to 16 times 9, which is the numerator of the second one times the denominator of the first one. 6 times 24 is 144. 16 times 9 is 144. So yes, these do form a proportion. I'll let you guys go ahead and try number 2. So you do the numerator of one times the denominator of the other and see if they're equal to each other. Moving down, it says using the cross products property. So again, this is straight out of your book. It says the cross products of proportions are equal. So if you are given a proportion, you know that the numerator of one times the denominator of the other is equal to the numerator of the second one times the denominator of the first one. So if they tell you that it is a proportion, you know that the cross products are going to be equal. So this section says use the cross products property to solve the proportion. So they're saying it is a proportion, so that means I know I can do 16 times 10 and set that equal to x times 25. So that's going to give me 160 equals 25x. And then to solve for x, I'm just going to divide both sides by 25. So x is going to equal 6.4. Okay, so that's using the cross products property. Cross multiply and then divide. So I did 16 times 10, 25 times x, and then I can divide. So for number 2, I would do 12 times b equals 2 times 30. So that's 12b equals 60. Then I can divide by 12 to solve for b, and get b equals 5. Okay, looking at 3 and 4, these are going to get a little bit trickier because we have more than just the x. But again, same thing. I'm doing 30 times x plus 9. So I'm going to have to put parentheses around that because it's the whole quantity. And then I'm doing 15 times 48. So here I'd have to distribute. I'd get 30x plus 270 equals 15 times 48 is 720. So now I have a two-step equation to solve. I'm going to subtract 270 from both sides. So I'd get 30x equals 450. Then I can divide both sides by 30. So I'll get x equals 15. And then for the last one, I'm going to do 18 times 175 equals 3x times 50. So 18 times 175 gives me 3,150, and 3x times 50 is 150x. So then to get x by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 150. So I will get 21 equals. Right? So that is the cross products property. If you look at the next page, on the back side, sorry, I've got a couple word prompts. It says a commercial jet travels 124 miles in 6 hours. Another jet travels 1,100 miles in 2 hours. Are the two rates equivalent? So let's start by writing our two rates. Remember, rates have different units. So miles over hours. So then our second rate is 1,100 miles over 2 hours. So we want to figure out if these are equivalent. So we're going to do that by using cross products. So we're going to do 3240 times 2 and try to see if that's equivalent or equal to 11 times 6. 3240 times 2 is 6,480. 1,100 times 6 is 6,600. So those are not equivalent. All right, number 2 I will leave for you guys. Then there's some review problems. Okay, and then if you look at the very bottom, this is just a review of the three methods we talked about for solving proportions. Equivalent ratios, algebra, those are both from part 2. And then the third way is cross products, which we did just now in part 3. All right, so make sure you do your review problems. Make sure you do number 2.